too, but my name again, Nicole Mitchell. So I'm the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer here at Cedars-Sinai, and I oversee a really amazing team of individuals that make up the Office of Diversity, Inclusion, and Wellbeing. So we'll talk a little bit about adding that well-being piece to our work. I'm a working mom of two and a wife, and I think that's so critically important as we're talking about intersectionality and D&I. I love to add that piece. I'm a proud wife and mama. So I have a 5-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter who keep me very busy, hence why I have coffee that just got delivered to my office. But I've been at Cedars-Sinai for 5 years now, almost 5 years, and I was brought on to help create what diversity and inclusion formally looks like at the organization. So that's a big piece of what is fulfilling about my work, right? I get to think about every day, how are we supporting our healthcare heroes, right? These folks are thinking about saving lives every day, creating research, teaching the next generation of physicians and scientists, because we are a teaching hospital at Cedars-Sinai as well. And I get to help figure out how are we creating environments that allow them to bring all those amazing ideas to this place. And that's pretty fulfilling, right? It's an impact for the community.
It seems like a very, very large position. And I'm sure you work with an amazing team.
I do.
And how does Cedars-Sinai support diversity and inclusion in the workplace?
Yeah. Well, we do a couple things. I mean, I joked when I came on 5 years ago, we were going to infiltrate every aspect of the business. And at that point, there were 2 of us, and now there's 13 of us thinking about this great work. Yeah. And I'll talk a little bit about that structure. But for us, we were thinking of how do we create a culture? So I'm always saying I'm the people and the culture side of things, right? How are we represented across our workforce? So that really reflects the community. We are here in Los Angeles, super diverse, right? We want to make sure that our workforce reflects our patient population and the community we serve. So we're thinking about representation. And I know that's kind of the D, that's the easy part, right? The harder part is the inclusion piece. And for us, we do monthly celebrations, and they have grown so much. It's been amazing. I have to just put in context when I got started. I joined July or August, end of July, beginning of August of 2019, right before the pandemic, right before George Floyd happened. And we were getting ready to like gear up and do all of this amazing work. And then we shut down. So what we decided to do at that point to figure out how do we continue to talk about diversity and inclusion was create conversations. We do something called Conversations for Our Bio on a monthly basis, where we allowed our people to tell their stories to their colleagues. It was virtual, and that was kind of a really cool way for us to find connection points, to just learn from each other in a really difficult time when we were all figuring out, what does this even mean? We went remote. Some of us are here. How do we connect? So we've continued that, and we realized that having those storytelling sessions on top of the celebrations, all of it has an educational component to it. And then, of course, we do a ton of training around here in education. We are a teaching hospital after all, right? So we have unconscious bias that's mandatory for every employee every year, and we change up the content. So it's not just like the basics of unconscious bias, but this last one that just went live a couple weeks ago, thinking about how does that show up in trans care? Right? We have a very large trans population that comes here to Cedars-Sinai. So how are we really teaching our people pronoun usage, right? And how to do service recovery. So we're thinking about a lot of different ways that we've kind of infiltrated the work here at Cedars-Sinai with D&I.
You are doing so much, and being recognized on our best of the best, as a top diverse employer. Could you share any other or any particular success story and milestones? I know you mentioned a couple right now, but is there any other one that in particular? And it's obvious that you respect the work-life balance, especially with women.
We do.
And that's something that is true testament to, who you guys are because of even where you're at. And I'd love for you to kind of share that, because not everybody understands that work-life balance in your position. So I think I know our readers, especially our women readers, would love to know more about that.
Yeah, for me, I lead all the time with saying I'm a working mom in every meeting here at Cedars-Sinai because I believe if I'm not open and talking about it and at the tables that I'm at, then I'm doing a disservice to all of the women coming up behind me or in their roles to create an environment where they can lean in, and dads too, right? I think that's really
Absolutely.
important. So
Absolutely.
I don't ever say work-life balance. I say work-life sway because,
I like that.
it's never balanced. If someone has figured out balance, please let me know because it is not.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're always swaying, you're trying to figure it out. But one of the things that the beauty, I'd mentioned we brought well-being under my umbrella about a year ago, a little over a year ago now. And that was really important because we realized in that bucket, we also have Bright Horizons, which is a great partner to think about childcare and backup childcare and pet care because we have a lot of pet parents. And now we know we have a lot of sandwich generation with elder care as well. So we wear many hats. And for us, thinking about that connection piece of inclusion and well-being and kind of the motherhood, fatherhood, parenthood hat, it was really exciting, to be honest, that I got to take that over. Right, because I don't know that anybody else was bringing the lens and the connection point to all of that work. So we have really great backup childcare here. We're actually just started a childcare task force to really think about what do our people want and how can we achieve their needs. We probably would not have done that 5 years ago, just to be honest, right?
But it helps with you being a parent to understand that
Absolutely.
you can't do the best job when you're concerned about your child and you're concerned about driving somewhere to pick them up on time. So
Never.
you're not charged more because then there's the whole, but when it's all there and maybe they need a break and they can go down and I don't know if they're in the same facility or not, but it makes a huge difference to have that portion of your mind at,
Yeah.
relieved so you can focus on your job. And I think that's a huge thing. Absolutely. And I really respect the fact that you added the fathers, because I know some amazing fathers that
Oh, yeah.
absolutely, it's not just the mother, it's the father too. And sometimes we kind of forget that.
My
So
husband is one of those great dads, and he's at Dads and Donuts this morning and took
yeah,
the kid, one
that's
of our
great.
children to school. And I think we do forget that piece, particularly when we look at men in leadership. And, if we think about societal norms, sometimes we're missing the fact that men want to be part of their children's lives as well, and they need the flexibility too. And I want to make sure that we talk about that here. That's a really, really important piece for me. And, the other thing I just want to add on that is thinking about when lactating people are coming back from a leave and making sure that we have the facilities and spaces that are comfortable for them. We took
Absolutely.
that over and we've revamped the whole program in the last 6 months and, updating rooms, making sure they're accessible, making sure it's really easy for people to understand how to get access to them. Those little things mean so much to our people.
Absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. Tell me about the NextGen Pathways. I know
Yeah.
you might have lightly mentioned it, but tell me more about it and the purpose and why it was created and the success that it's achieved.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite programs that has come over to us. So it is a diverse healthcare pathways program. So we work with high school students all the way up to college students, helping them get exposure to Cedars-Sinai, right? So we have 5 different programs that are within the NextGen Healthcare Pathways. So one has been around for over 30 years now, and it's one of my favorites and a big success story. It works with juniors and seniors from a local high school that's literally just that way. And it's really focused on folks from historically underrepresented communities, ensuring that they get paid. So when these young people are here, they're getting paid, they're getting department exposure, they are getting mentors, and they're building community, right? So when you're thinking about pathways and pipeline development, that's how you want to do it, right? Um,
Right.
so that we have over 300 people. So over those 30 years, we have over 300 people that we know of, and we're doing some research that are still employed here at Cedars-Sinai. Somebody who
Oh,
is from our very first class is here, and actually the individual who runs the program now is an alum too. I was like, she's perfect.
wow.
She should be running this. So I think we've had some amazing success stories. So we have that program, which is our YED program. Then we have our Emerge program, which is kind of the alumni. We're about to start a cohort of that for the first time coming up, about 5 students from our YED program to stick with us as they're figuring out what are we doing for college and making sure that they still are getting money in their pockets to help offset some costs. A lot of these individuals are helping to support their families as well. So it's really important. And then we have a program called Discover, which is our summer program that works with the LA Mayor's office to really help students figure out how do we maneuver this healthcare world? What does it mean? What kind of roles are out there? And I want to just stress this is beyond just nurses and physicians. It could be people like me. I have one of our students and my team, right? Because I want them to understand the breadth of roles within healthcare. It's not just a nurse and a doctor. So we have all of those programs. One is an alumni program for the Discover program, our summer program. So they actually stay with us for a year. But a big one that we have a huge partnership with is Black Men in White Coats Youth Summit. So there's an amazing organization run by a man called Dr. Dale. And he does Black Men in White Coats. We brought their youth summit to LA for the first time 2 years ago. We had about 80 students. It was our pilot. We wanted to try it out. We went from 80 to over 1,000 registered and about over 500 attend in March this year. Mona, it was such a wonderful, feel-good day walking around the LA Convention Center and seeing these students interact with our nurses and physicians and staff and have hands-on sessions where you're learning how to intubate and, learning how to, somebody from my well-being team was teaching them how to meditate and just take a breath by using your hands. It was just so amazing. So that's what that program's about. It's creating that next generation of healthcare heroes, no matter what the role is. But I think it's really cool.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I can tell how from your enthusiasm and passion that this trickles down into all your programs and into all your employees. And when I look at you, I see you as a Wonder Woman, because that's what this next issue is, and as one yourself, can you highlight some other Wonder Women in your organization? Just because this particular editorial is going in that issue, which hits on all communities, but also focuses on Wonder Women.
I love that.
Any particular come to mind?
I have 5 that came to mind instantly, because the thing that I love is we have been working very hard to make sure that we have representation across the board. So there are 2 women that are in our most senior ranks. One, Jill Martin, she runs our whole medical network. So that is thinking about all of our physician offices that are across the greater LA area and all of the physicians and teams in there. She leads that work. She's amazing. Terry Camarano is our general counsel, and I just love her. Every time I talk to her, I'm like, oh, I just want to go to coffee and pick her brain and just chit chat, because she has that caring energy that I don't know that we always get in counsel, and she's amazing. My work BFF, Dr. Christina Harris, she's our Chief Health Equity Officer. So she's thinking about patient outcomes and community, where I'm thinking about our people, and we obviously work very closely together.
Right. That's a great team there. I can imagine the 2. Yeah, that's great.
And so there's quite a few individuals that, those are 3 that come to mind. But even our leadership team within the Human Resources Department, there are a lot of amazing, powerful women on that team that make things happen. But I'm a little biased because my whole leadership team is almost made up of women within my own team. And we're super diverse. And I just love being able to have that energy and dynamic and all the different perspectives that we bring. Right. Because I think just because we're women doesn't mean that we all have the same experience in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it makes it so unique. Well, this interview is coming to an end.